Arches of sandstone, corbelled and askew, that we humans passed through these centuries later, so long after stone blocks were cut, moved, lifted, set horizontal, and slid into place to rise into a jagged, peaked arch. Corbel arches being weaker, not true, and prone over time to collapse. Yet askew, these openings still arch, still soar above for us to pass through, still preside over our human movement, inviting entrance to Angkor sanctuaries and galleries, beckoning us to meet the past. Still they stand, corbelled and askew, not true arches, yet bearing the 12th century into the 21st, block by block, arching over humans then, and block by block, arching over humans now, entering the long since past. Two, in a garden over still waters, a full moon forms from an arch mirrored in a canal, the half turned whole, turned perpetual full moon. The moon bridge spans stillness, spans the banks of our desire. The rise and fall of the arch becomes the fall and rise of the arch reflected. The half of mirrored arch, so aching for the moon and reaching up and settling for this, a clasp with stone, a meeting of arches at the surface, a touch to form the circle of halves. The arch bridge moon spans the stillness over the canal, spans our desire for what we haven't, spans our need to be elsewhere, and may, in a fortnight, cup within its circumference the seas and rifts of a real moon, pearl of the moon bridge. Three, here to there, mainland to island, a dragon's back rises and falls in undulating arches extending across an inlet. We mortals may ascend, descend, ascend, descend, pilgrims to the island offshore with three rising peaks, the three immortal sages with whom we living mortals may converse while making furtive glances back over the span, scanning the dragon's arching back for any twitch. Will the tail leap to life and whip us offshore? Will the dragon propel us once and for all out to sea? We watch and wait, but the arches hold firm in the tides, and we mortals return across the rising and falling dragon back, 8 serpent arches that we ascend, descend, safely back to pebbled shore. Four, in Nagasaki, 17th century stone double arches formed not a moon when mirrored in water below, but a pair of spectacles, 2 lenses to watch over the active port and, as well, bear traders and denizens back and forth over the Nakajima River. 2 arches reflected in the river formed spectacles to bear witness over seasons and centuries, through past and present, through calm and strife, through even the impossible, the blinding flash, the stop of time. Unblinded by even this agony, the double arch bridge does not avert its gaze, but still bears witness while bearing the city on its back. And we, around the world, ought to know that those stone spectacles remain watchful, eyeing us from afar, following our moves, even here, whether toward or away from peace, whether toward or away from war, whether toward or away from that impossible flash. Stone arch spectacles, lenses for Nagasaki, still bearing witness. 5. A rounded arch of stones needs no mortar. An arch derives strength from separate stones placed together, unstable until meeting at the keystone, until the keystone exerts force, the wedge pressing down and out along the voussoir curve that turns the weight to the springers and down the load-bearing walls. A keystone tops a true arch, a rounded arch that in a series forms an aqueduct or forms a bridge to span rivers and shoulders locomotives in ragged mountains high above rough water. Arches of stones need no mortar, no steel, and yet survive, still link village to village, village to city, city to city, even country to country. Keystones cut, hefted, and wedged so an arch can support improbable burdens of then and now. Rounded arches bearing the weight of water coursing above plus water coursing below. Rounded arches bearing carts, yesterday's train cars, even today's freight. Rounded arches bearing travelers once and travelers now, stitching together the earth's terrain. A true arch of stones needs no mortar. A true arch derives strength from alignment.